Let me ask you something that might sting a bit. Have you been changing or just updating the wallpaper on a crumbling house? You know what I mean. New habits, same self-doubt. New job, same lost feeling. New haircut, but somehow still you. Staring back in the mirror like a ghost that won't leave. Now, imagine this. You're standing in a wheat field, hands blistered, sweat soaking through your tunic. The air is heavy, but not because of the summer heat. It's because you don't know who you are anymore. Welcome to Thorfinn's reality on Ketil's farm. He went from being one of the deadliest warriors in Vinland Saga to a guy chopping wood like it's a form of medieval therapy. Silent, numb, directionless. And guess what? That's you in your 20s if you don't figure this out. Let's be real. Your 20s were sold to you like a trailer for a blockbuster movie. Discover yourself, travel the world, start the business, fall in love. But what they don't show is the deleted scenes. The identity crisis after graduation, the existential dread at 2 a.m., the way your dreams start to feel like lies you told yourself when you were 17. You're not failing, you're becoming painfully aware that what got you here won't get you there. And if you don't kill the old self, you'll spend the next decade putting on motivational face masks, hoping no one notices the rot underneath. In Stoic philosophy, there's this idea that rebirth isn't gentle, it's violent. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." He didn't say meditate until enlightenment. He said act, transform, kill the weak parts, forge new ones. And that's what today is about. Because Thorfinn didn't level up by fighting harder. He leveled up by losing everything that made him weak. You will too, if you stop trying to protect the version of you that's already expired. So here's the challenge. Before you can become the next version of yourself, you gotta bury the one that's holding you back. Stay with me, because we're going Viking. And the first thing we're setting on fire, that soft little voice in your head whispering, "This is just who I am." Translation, I'm emotionally attached to my bad habits and you can't stop me. You ever wake up, scroll TikTok for 45 minutes, stare at your ceiling and go, what am I even doing with my life? Yeah, that's the ghost version of you talking. Not the fired-up dreamer with vision boards, not the hustler who swore they'd build an empire. I'm talking about the specter of yourself, the version that exists but doesn't live. And look, no shame here. We've all had days, weeks, years where we're just floating. You're not depressed exactly. You're just muted, like someone turned down the volume on your potential. You're fine, but that word feels like a coffin. You work, you eat, you sleep. Maybe you laugh, maybe you cry, but there's no fire. There's movement, but no meaning. In psychology, this state is called identity diffusion. It's when you haven't committed to any clear sense of self. You're not exploring new paths. You're not rejecting old ones. You're just in limbo. And in Stoicism, that's the most dangerous place to be. Seneca once said, if a man knows not to which port he sails, no wind is favorable. You can grind, you can hustle, but if you're not headed anywhere, you're just burning fuel in circles. Let's talk about Thorfinn. Season 2, Ketil's farm. After years of chaos, he loses everything. His enemy, his purpose, his identity. And what does he do? Nothing. He chops wood, avoids eye contact. He's no longer a warrior, but not at peace either. He's stuck in that dead zone, the life equivalent of airplane mode. That's what happens when you don't kill your old self. You become a shell of what you used to be and never become who you could be. Ever meet someone 2 years out of college, still clinging to their glory days major, still talking about what they might do, still waiting for life to start? That's not just a late bloomer. That's someone who hasn't had the courage to bury their old self. You might even see them in the mirror. And here's the part no one tells you. If you don't kill the ghost version of yourself, it will haunt your future. You'll carry it into relationships, into careers, into dreams, and sabotage everyone. Here's your first act of war. Call it out. Name the version of you that's just floating. Write it down. Describe it in brutal detail. And then start starving it. Don't feed it with distraction. Don't soothe it with comfort. We're just getting started. The next step? Kill the victim. Own the fight. All right, confession time. How many times have you told yourself, I'll start next week once I have more time after this one last scroll? Yeah, that's the excuse loop. It's sneaky, subtle, and it feels logical until it becomes your personality. This is when it hits. You don't need more motivation. You don't need more time. You don't need to feel ready. You just need to stop negotiating with your old self. You say you want change. Your brain agrees, in theory, but the second discomfort hits, boom. Excuses raid your mental village like a pack of Viking pillagers. We've had a rough week. Let's chill. Just skipped a gym today. We'll double it tomorrow. This isn't avoidance. It's recovery. Right. And I eat 4 donuts a week for the fiber. Nice try. But according to a study from the University of Toronto, your brain defaults to avoidance when it perceives effort as a threat. Not because you're weak, but because your brain is wired to protect you. The problem? That protection becomes self-sabotage. This is why the Stoics trained in storms. Marcus Aurelius said, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." Your excuses aren't roadblocks. They're signposts. They show you exactly where your weak self is hiding. Let's go back. Thorfinn again. He's on a farm, chopping wood every single day. But he's not building anything. He's hiding. He tells himself it's penance, that he's too broken for more. But when Einar shows up and actually challenges him, Thorfinn starts to wake up. Not because the world changed, but because he stopped accepting his own excuses. You don't need more time. You need a moment of violence to break the loop. Throw your phone across the room. Walk out the door before your brain starts talking you out of it. Act before the excuses arrive. Excuses don't sound like lies. They sound like kindness, but they're killing you softly. Here's your move. Pick one thing you've been avoiding. Doesn't matter how small. Do it today. Not perfectly, just do it. That's your first burn, because tomorrow we kill your comfort zone. Here's a savage truth no one's tweeting. Comfort is the most elegant form of self-destruction. It doesn't attack you head on. It wraps you in soft blankets. It feeds you DoorDash. It whispers that binge-watching 6 hours of Netflix is self-care. Plot twist, it's not. It's your coffin. Think about it. Are you actually happy when you're comfortable, or are you just not in pain? Because there's a difference. And here's the thing. Pain is the signal for growth. Comfort is the signal for decay. A 2021 study in Frontiers in Psychology found that people who consistently chase challenge, even tiny uncomfortable ones, report higher long-term satisfaction than those who live for comfort. Why? Because challenge stretches them, sharpens them, turns them into something worth waking up as. You keep picking easy and wondering why nothing changes. The Stoics didn't run from discomfort. They invited it in. Seneca said, "It is in times of security that the soul should prepare itself for difficulty." Translation, voluntary hardship. Do hard things on purpose before life forces your hand. Because the longer you wait, the softer you get. The softer you get, the harder life hits. Look at Thorfinn. Again, after he wakes up on the farm, he doesn't go back to the blade. He starts walking the path of discipline without glory. He builds. He protects. He serves. There's no crowd, no cheering, no revenge speech. That's the transformation. Choosing struggle without a reward because it makes you solid. That's not just maturity. That's philosophical muscle. Let me guess. You've got an idea, a plan, a change you know you need to make, but it's uncomfortable, so you stall. You research. You plan. You watch more videos like this one for inspiration. That's not prep. That's procrastination. Dressed up as productivity. You're not stuck because life's hard. You're stuck because you're addicted to easy. So here's your last move in this round. Do one thing this week that makes you deeply uncomfortable. On purpose. Wake up earlier. Take a cold shower. Say no to that easy dopamine loop. Lift something. Build something. Confront something. Whatever it is, choose the fire. Because comfort doesn't build warriors. Fire does. Not the cozy fireplace kind. The burn your comfort zone down with a Viking scream kind. You met your ghost, the version of you that floats, not lives. You exposed the victim mindset, called it what it is, a lie dressed as logic. You burned through the excuse loop, one delayed dream at a time. You saw comfort for what it really is, a slow death in soft clothes. This was just the first half of the war. The call out, the mirror smash, the funeral for your former self. But here's the thing, you haven't transformed yet. You haven't rebuilt. You haven't faced the part of the journey that actually hurts. That's next, because killing your old self, it's just the start. Be ready.